everyone. It is a special day because we are talking about the leader of one of the most iconic brands of our time, which is Starbucks, and the CEO, who is Brian Niccol. And Brian Niccol has been with Starbucks for about a year now. And recently there were some layoffs that were announced. There's some store closings that are happening. And so I decided to kind of get into, okay, who is this Brian Niccol? What is going on with Starbucks? Why are they struggling? What is he doing to return Starbucks to its quote unquote glory days? And of course, have a little Starbucks along the way. So I am Dora Marie Morris. I am the Chief Training Officer of the World Class Training Institute, and I am also the curator of the Leaders Lounge, which is what you are watching currently. The Leaders Lounge is our place as leaders to come and get nuggets of leadership wisdom and goodness that are going to help all of us to be better professionally and personally. The Leaders Lounge is an outgrowth of my company, which is the World Class Training Institute, which seeks to maximize human capital through the delivery of leadership and professional development training programs. So anything that can help your teams be better is in our wheelhouse. So that includes personality assessments through DISC, emotional intelligence, time management, delegation skills. We have a program specifically for leaders as they are getting to know their teams better and they want to be able to collaborate and help the team to be in sync. And in fact, the course is called Team Sync, which helps with systems thinking. It helps with collaboration. It helps with understanding the different personalities of the team members and how they can be aligned around one vision. Intentional Leadership is our program that is for new and emerging leaders, and it helps them with all of the tools to successfully go from being an individual contributor to a leader of people. So all of those types of things are in our wheelhouse, and world-class training is how you can access all worldclasstraining.net is how you can access all of those leadership programs. I'm also going to share with you all, I have a book out called Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership. And you can get that book at worldclasstraining.net/agape. That's worldclasstraining.net. I'm just going to reach back and grab it right quickly. worldclasstraining.net/agape. And so I say I'm the Twitter of book writers. I don't write any book that's over 150 pages, so it's an easy read, but it is about 7 core principles or behaviors or languages that leaders should demonstrate. And I always say language is best demonstrated by behavior, which is why this is called the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership, because I can tell you that I love you, but if I don't show you, you probably should not believe me. All right. So pick up that book at worldclasstraining.net/agape. That's worldclasstraining.net/agape. I'm just going to rest this back here. And then one other exciting thing that I want to share with you all before we get into this content is that we have a program that's coming up in December specifically for small business owners who are focused on growing their corporate client base. So if you are someone who serves corporate clients or what they call a B2B salesperson or entrepreneur, you want to be at this, the B2B Development Accelerator. It is going to happen in Nashville on Saturday, December the 6th, 2025. And this, as I'm saying, is a conclave for small business owners who market to corporate clients. And the reason this is so important is that oftentimes I see training classes that are centered around helping small business owners as they are selling to consumers, which means individuals. B2C is what they call it. But I don't see a lot around the B2B sales market. And that is a different, as they say, animal all in of itself. And there are different ways and different strategies that you have to sell and promote to business clients. There's a longer sales cycle. And so having that conversation is important, and discussing ways to better market to business clients is important. And we are going to have some training around it, have some conversation around it. And it's going to be more of an environment where we are going to idea share, so that when we start the new year, those of us who are business to business sales professionals are ready to go with a fresh wind. And so you want to meet us at the B2B Business Development Accelerator. And so I just popped that up at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to let that scroll for most of this program. And you can register for that at worldclasstraining.net/personal. That's worldclasstraining.net/personal. It is scheduled to be an in-person training. We want to bring everybody into the room. So if you're in Nashville, come on. If you're in surrounding states, come on, meet us. Even if you're far, go ahead and come on, because it's going to be worth the trip to enhance your salesmanship, enhance your confidence and efficacy as you are selling to business clients. So again, that's the B2B Business Development Accelerator. And you can register for that at worldclasstraining.net/personal. All right, so all of that is out the way. And so now let's talk about Starbucks, and particularly the new CEO, who is Brian Niccol. So Brian Niccol, for those people who don't know, has been with Starbucks for about a year. Brian Niccol has a history in the restaurant business after coming from Procter and Gamble as a brand strategist. He went to Taco Bell first, and he was able to help them improve revenues significantly by some of the ideas that he brought to life during his tenure at Taco Bell. And then he went to Chipotle, and he was the CEO at Chipotle for several years. And he went to Chipotle shortly after they had a food scare. Some of the food at Chipotle was, I think, seen as not healthy, or not necessarily not healthy, but dangerous to eat. And so they went through that, and they then hired Brian Niccol. Shortly thereafter, Chipotle had their challenges. He was able to turn around Chipotle as well. From what I read, his salary ended up being, I want to say, 1,300 times the median salary for people who worked at Chipotle by the time he left. So significant salary, did significant gains for the company. Chipotle in 2023 saw Brian Niccol end up leaving the company. And in 2024, from what I understand, he left the company largely because Starbucks recruited him to come to Starbucks to help them. And in 2024, he ended up as the chairman and CEO of Starbucks. So right now he serves as the chairman and CEO of Starbucks. So that's a little bit about kind of his history in the company, in the corporate space, I should say. And again, as I said, Starbucks is a brand that many of us know, and some of us love and some of us don't. My son and daughter-in-law are millennials, and they loved Starbucks. In fact, I would say that Starbucks had become so popular at one point that it almost was like how when you say, instead of tissue, you say Kleenex, because it's so popular, you just think of the name Kleenex instead of saying tissue, and that's what you ask for. So instead of saying coffee, people would say, I need my Starbucks, right? And so that's where Starbucks had gotten to in the minds of many coffee lovers. Apparently, post-COVID, Starbucks began to suffer in terms of sales, in terms of popularity. Personally, I was never a big Starbucks person, but I know people like my children who are definitely Starbucks people. I enjoy a cinnamon dolce latte. That's my drink. And that's what I got today because I said, if I'm talking about Starbucks, I got to get a cinnamon dolce latte and support the brand. But I did see where Starbucks, whenever I visited, was not the same energetic, vibrant coffee shop that it was in its earlier days. When I used to go to Starbucks on occasion, it was vibrant. Yes, they would write on your mug, hey, have a great day, happy Sunday, or whatever it was. They would write your name and put a little heart on it. And so there was this warmth and this feeling of hospitality that happened when I used to enter Starbucks. Fast forward, and I thought Brian Niccol did a great job of actually talking about this in one of the podcasts that I had seen recently, where he was interviewed, of saying, people kind of got away from Starbucks employees, which they call partners, got away from that hospitable feeling that customers were getting when they went into a Starbucks. And so for example, he said that he's bringing back, they had gotten away from writing on the cups. And I have one today. Now, I did go through the drive-through. I'm not sure that if he brought this back for people who come inside or people who are also in the drive-through. Not sure. Wasn't able to test that because I didn't go inside and didn't ask why I didn't have this on my cup. But I'm saying all of this to say he has decided to bring back the Sharpies and say, hey, you know what? That messaging or those people seeing their names on their cup actually meant something to them. And interestingly, I happened to listen to my pastor today, and he spoke. Of course, he didn't know I was going to be doing a podcast on Starbucks, and he spoke and said, I love going to Starbucks, and I don't care where I go in the United States, they write my name, Joseph, on the cup. And so it's so significant to him that he even, and this is the second time I've heard him incorporate that into one of his sermons and talk about the importance of a name. And so I think the smart thing that Brian Niccol did was bring back the Sharpie. Some people say, well, that's a minor thing, but minor things mean a lot to some people. And I actually liked that as a touch. Another thing that I think that he has done well in his time there, besides bringing back the iconic, and I'm going to show a picture of it that I have, the iconic Sharpie, is what he's calling the green apron service model. So you see there's a barista and she has a green apron on, which is what people who go to Starbucks know is part of their uniform. And so when he's talking about this green service model, he's talking about people being able to have a certain level of service that is reminiscent of shorter wait times. It's reminiscent of being able to feel like they are at home. It is about making sure that, like, one thing that he said that he's doing is making sure that when folks come into the store, what happens is, instead of on the app them ordering and then having to wait, he has decided to have people who are going to be in position to make sure that when people come in, they are able to get their beverages, because these people in the store during the peak hours are there specifically to ensure that that the customers come in and are able to get what they were supposed to get.
So, you've heard us talk about this right as I started in this job about 10 months ago. We wanted to get back to winning the morning day part, and then we wanted to make sure we were staffed correctly throughout the balance of the day. So what you'll see with the Green Apron service model is we're reducing the number of hours where we have minimum staffing, and then we're making sure that we have the right number of partners in the right position at the right times. So specifically during peak, that means you're going to see more Green Apron partners. You're going to see, in the case of a drive-through, you're you're going to see a dedicated person at the drive-through window. If it's a cafe with a big mobile order business, you might see a person that is, we're calling a play caller, standing in position, being almost like a digital host, so that we can keep order to our mobile order business. And then behind the scenes, what's happening is we've got technology that we're calling the smart queue, which ensures we sequence the orders correctly so that we can deliver on cafe orders in less than 4 minutes, the drive-through under 4 minutes, and then obviously we want mobile orders to be on time and accurate. So I think what you'll see is nice improvements in the morning day part, and then the balance of the day, what we've seen is we've also seen transaction gains there.
So you see how these to me are what I call low-hanging fruit by just making sure, hey, the drive-through runs smoothly. If they have mobile app orders, what is the sequence of those so that they're handled in a way that they are served quickly and they still receive hot meals? How do you handle the day part so that that's the busiest time of the day? People are being served. You have the right staffing numbers. And then the balance of the day, you have less staff, but you still maintain a high level of service, a dedicated person at the window. These are low-hanging fruit. And these are little changes, but they are changes that can significantly impact the customer. And I was happy to hear him say that. I said to myself, man, you know, when you think about being a CEO and he's getting a significant salary, from what I looked at, his overall compensation package is like 97.8 million. That's not all cash, but through the equity shares that he's getting and other pieces of compensation, that's what it's amounting to. You know, when you think about being in that role and being the CEO and getting those numbers as a salary, it could seem like, oh my goodness, I couldn't do this job. And it's not to minimize that he's been able to pick this out, but it's to say that if you can critically think and if you can focus on, as he's doing, if you're in business, and as Warren Buffett says, delighting the customer through little changes, you can run a successful organization. And the other thing that I saw that I'm going to share is, and it happened today. I said, let me see if this happens. So I heard him say, you know, I didn't know why people who get other types of milk are charged extra. And for years, I was charged extra whenever I got almond milk. My children got oat milk, and that used to be an upcharge. So he said, we're getting rid of that. No matter what type of milk you want, you are going to be charged the same amount. So today I got my cinnamon dolce latte, and it was not, there was no upcharge. I was charged the same amount that I would have been charged for regular milk. So thank you, Brian Niccol, for that. And then the other thing that I noticed that he said that he was doing, that was to me, again, an easy change, was he said, you know, we had gotten rid of the condiment bar, and that's where you could go and add your own sugar and add your own creamer if you wanted to, if you're just getting an Americano, which is just a regular coffee. And he said, we're adding that back. So what happened was during COVID, they got rid of it. But he said it was just something that they never went back to, but they should have after COVID. And so by doing that and taking care of the customers with this green apron service model, he is going to be able to execute some minor changes that will probably have a very big impact. That particular segment that I showed you all, he was talking about, they were actually ahead of schedule in the resurgence of the brand. So he's doing great things, again, incremental changes that are having very, very great results. Finally, when I was listening to Mr. Niccol, what popped into my head as an overarching theme for how he seems to operate is that KISS model. And it's the keep it simple. Some people say stupid, but I'll say keep it simply simple. KISS model, which is, hey, you don't have to go and, as they say, recreate the wheel. All you have to do is look at the current wheel and figure out where are some spokes missing, or where is it not shiny? Where is it that I can add maybe a little decoration so that this current wheel looks better than it did before I showed up. And that's what it looks like Mr. Niccol is doing. And I'm happy to see it because, yes, Starbucks has been around a long time. Again, some people say Starbucks is not good coffee. I like the cinnamon dolce latte. I'm not a very big coffee drinker. I'm more of a foo-foo coffee drinker. So I probably like the extra stuff in the coffee better than coffee itself. I'm more of a tea and energy drink girl. But this cinnamon dolce latte, even though it's not even on the menu anymore, to me is one of the most soothing drinks they have. And I hope they don't get rid of it. He did say that he was also going to do some menu simplification, with that I think is a good thing as well. I think some restaurants end up going too deeply into trying to please every type of customer by having so many things on the menu you can't even figure it out, right? That's why there are some stores I can't go into because I'm like, these are too many things for me to figure out. I need to be able to go right there, pick it out, and keep it moving. And today I looked at their menu, and their menu was much easier to read. It was like 2 rows, 8 items. They did have some other signature items as well on the board, but it was much easier to take in, especially in a drive-through scenario. So I am betting that Brian Niccol will be the North Star for Starbucks, and he will be able to make some good changes. One final thing that I noticed was that when I went with my app today, it just said make one drink, take one drink, or buy one drink, and you'll get 100 bonus stars. Which now I'm eligible for getting my reward, which they had really, to me, not done a good job with the reward program. Where before it was pretty easy for me to get, and for me to get the reward I like, it's for me to be able to get a free one of these. And it was taking forever because of how their new reward system had gotten set up. So he's doing a good job of trying to get the repeat customers by putting that out there and saying, hey, you get 100 bonus stars if you show up. It was a short date window, but fortunately I met the date window, and now I'll be able to get a free one the next time. And then next time I may even buy a sandwich or something else. So he's doing the right things to bring in and solidify repeat consumers. So as I'm thinking about then overall as a leader, as a CEO, what are some takeaways? The first one is that as leaders, it is important for you to look at things globally. Understand the higher you are in a company, the more you are there to look at things globally and then be the strategist around changes that are supposed to happen. Before you even do that, though, I'll say my second thing that you have to do first, which is listen. And you need to take time to find out what's important to the consumer, find out what's important to, in his case, their partners. How can we make their worlds better? Because if you have employees who love to work there, they are going to, in turn, deliver great service. If you have customers who you've listened to, then you are going to deliver things that are going to keep them coming back to your stores. And then the third thing that I think that you have to do as a CEO or a head of a company is you have to make sure that while you keep things simple, you also stay abreast of innovations that can make your business and your lives easier, as well as the lives of those people you serve easier and or better. And so from that, I'm talking about with the app. Even at Taco Bell and at Chipotle, I think Taco Bell was the first place that he really was able to use the app experience to create great results. From what I read, he was able to grow revenues for Taco Bell by like $100 million by the app that he created there. And then at Chipotle, he was able to do great things with improving their mobile order business as well. And so now at Starbucks, he's working on that so that the mobile orders can align with when the customers are going to show up so that their drinks are not sitting there for 6 and 7 minutes getting cold. And so by staying abreast of innovations that can help your employees to and your customers to be better, either more successful as an employee or to have a greater experience as a customer, you're going to set the whole organization up to win. And so, cheers to Starbucks. Cheers to the new CEO, Brian Niccol. You are the North Star for the company, and I wish you well. Y'all, remember to register for the B2B Business Development Accelerator. That's happening in December, worldclasstraining.net/personal. It is going to be an amazing experience. It is particularly for those people who are in business or salespeople for B2C clients. B2C clients is the focus. We are going to do a little B2B, I'm sorry, B2B clients, B2B clients, business to business, not business to consumer. We're going to do a little bit with some consumer tips, but the focus is largely going to be on corporate sales. So make sure to register for that at worldclasstraining.net/personal. Again, this is an in-person training here in Nashville. We welcome y'all from all states. We know Kentucky is close, Georgia is close, Alabama is close, even Illinois is close, Indiana is close, Ohio, Cincinnati, all these areas. Come on to Nashville. We will have a great time and we'll learn a lot so we can be ready to start 2026 in high sales mode. All right. So please make sure to go ahead and register for that. As far as we are concerned here at the World Class Training Institute, you can also pick up World Class Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership at worldclasstraining.net/agape. And then for all of your leadership and professional development training needs, just go to worldclasstraining.net. That's worldclasstraining.net. So I hope this was helpful to you all. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, cheers to Brian Niccol. We wish you all of life's best success in your journey at Starbucks. And we look forward to great sales headed your way. Y'all buy your stock in Starbucks because it's going, as they say, all the way up. All righty. So, and until next time, you all always remember at the World Class Training Institute, when you are better, we're absolutely better. Take care.